Alrighty, so today we're going to talk about division revamp because this was kind of a big topic that's been out there for the past couple of days, and I could have easily mentioned this in the News of the Week episode yesterday as well, but I thought this would be a topic that it simply has to deserve its own video because there's a lot of breakdown in terms of the proposed division revamp that I have seen in these past couple of days. And there's also some discussion the fact that with this new division revamp, does that means that some of the rivalry games are going to be over? Because I actually read a New York Times article talk about how this new division revamp means that yeah, that means the rivalry games that we've seen in some traditional rivalry games that we've seen in MLS is gonna go by the wayside because of the way that some of these teams that are rivals are probably going to be in separate division. And I kind of find it funny when they didn't realize the fact that I mean, yes, you're not going to have a situation where you have two teams that are going to be the same rivals in the same division, but did they not realize the fact that with what they are also proposing, the format and the schedule is going to be in the regular season, which by the way, they are saying that this is going to start right when we're going to change the schedule from a late summer schedule starting in July all the way to a spring schedule with the regular season concluding in April and the postseason starts in May as well. That I don't think they realize the fact that every single team is gonna at least play each other once, and that you only play against your divisional team twice a year. So it's not like again the rivalry of these games is going to be dead. It's just the fact that it's just going to happen once every year instead of twice every year like we have seen in the past. Now, with that being said, let's go over in terms of these five divisions. So again, the way that how the format would work is that there's going to be five division. There's going to be 6 teams in each of these divisions. Starting off with the Northwest Division, and by the way, these names that I put, these are just kind of names that I made up with. There is not an official name in terms of each of these division, but I thought that I would come up with this name because it's basically where most of these teams are in terms of regionally. And of course, when they decided to put all these teams in different division, it's all based on geographical standpoint. So looking at the Northwest Division, we got the Portland Timbers, Seattle Sounders, Vancouver Whitecaps, the San Jose Earthquakes, Real Salt Lake, and the Colorado Rapids. Now looking at the Southwest Division, we got the LA Galaxy, LAFC, San Diego FC, Austin FC, Houston Dynamo, and FC Dallas. Looking at the Midwest, we got the Chicago Fire, Minnesota United, St. Louis City, Sporting KC, FC Cincinnati, and Columbus Crew. Looking at the Southeast, you got DC United, Nashville SC, Atlanta United, Charlotte FC, Inter Miami, and Orlando City. And then finally, looking at the Northeast, we got CF Montreal, Toronto FC, New England Revolution, New York Red Bulls, New York City FC, and also the Philadelphia Union as well. Now, when I look at this proposed division revamp, that it seems like this is gonna how it look starting in the 27th and 28th season. So one thing that I've already noticed starting at the top is the fact that it looks like the California team are going to be separated. So this has been kind of a big discussion of whether or not should we just include all the California team in the same division. And in some extent they kind of are with the way that all the SoCal team are going to be in the same division. What about the NorCal team? What about the San Jose Earthquakes? Are they going to be part of the division? And under this format, it seems like that is not the case. And when you look at the map, I mean, I can kind of make sense why that is the case. Though, again, there will be some people that say, well, I mean, I know the Quakes, they're going to lose that kind of rivalry standpoint in terms of playing twice against the LA team, but it kind of also makes sense the fact that they want to join the Northwest as well because if you decided to put the Quakes here, then you're gonna have to put one of these teams in the Southwest and maybe kind of flip around, which maybe you could do that, but I think the league also want to make sure that one, you want to make sure that all three of the SoCal team are in the same place, but you also want the Free Texas team to be in the same division as well because after all, we do not want a Copa Tijas kind of thing where each of the team from Copa Tijas Cup is going to be in different division. That's going to create a mess in terms of that whole standpoint. So yeah, again, that's why I think the San Jose Earthquakes are kind of the odd man out there. Even though I have seen some people they have put the Quakes and the other California team in the same division and kind of make a little bit of change. I've seen some people have said that they might put some of the Texas team up here, which kind of doesn't make sense because again, the whole point of these division is just kind of minimize the travel. And while the travel for this is not going to be that short either, I mean, it's kind of interesting to have all the California team and all the Texas team minus the San Jose Earthquakes in the same division. Consider California and Texas. It's I mean the geographical standpoint, they're not really as close as you think that they are. But yeah, now looking at the Midwest division, I mean the Midwest kind of makes perfect sense. So ever, I mean these are pretty much all the Midwest team that I assuming you obviously cannot have St. Louis and Sporting KC in different division, and the same goes for the two Ohio team. It would be absolutely insane if one of the Ohio team goes in a different division. And then of course, what's kind of also interesting is that you could easily say that there could be some rivalry that could standpoint. I mean, you have the Hell is Real Derby, you have that big Midwest rivalry between St. Louis and Sporting KC, and I argue you could also maybe have a rivalry with Chicago and Minnesota as well. In other sports, we do see rivalry between Chicago in Minnesota as well. So that should be very interesting to see that now they're in the same division. There could be kind of that rivalry standpoint. Consider for Minnesota, besides Sporting KC, I think Chicago is really the next closest city that Minnesota is based out of. So that should be very interesting to see how it feels like the group where all the rivals are kind of lumped up with each other in the Midwest. Now, looking at the southeast and also the northeast specifically. So obviously, the one big thing about the southeast, when you look at the teams that is included. I mean, of all the team that is included, these are kind of the team we were expected to include in the southeast. So the likes of Nashville, Atlanta, Charlotte, Inter Miami, and Orlando City. You knew that they have to be in the southeast because geographically they're in the southeast region. But there's always that talk of, well, which is going to be the team that's going to have to include in the Southeast as well, because obviously that's only 5 teams. You need an extra team. I know there are some people say, well, why not FC Cincinnati? Because Cincinnati has that rivalry with Nashville as well. But in the end, they decided to include DC United in there, and I can understand why they include DC because again, if you put Cincinnati in this division, you lose that kind of rivalry in terms of having twice a year with the Columbus Crew. And obviously, the league is not going to put two Ohio team in different division. That's just not going to be the case. So yeah, DC is kind of the odd man out, and in some way, it's kind of similar to what I said about the Quake situation, where they will lose that rivalry standpoint in terms of playing twice a year against the New York Red Bulls in the Atlantic Cup, but still, they do play against each other at least once every single year, so they don't lose in terms of that aspect. But yeah, DC is pretty much the closest when you look on the map geographically that belongs in the Southeast Division. And looking at the Northeast Division, this one kind of makes sense. You got the two Canadian Northeast team in CF Montreal and Toronto FC. You got New England Revolution, the New York Red Bulls, NYCFC, and Philadelphia Union. That's pretty much the big part of the Northeast megalopolis that is going on when you look on the map as well. And again, DC would include that if you look on the map, but because of the fact that there's only five teams that is in the southeast region. Heck, imagine if there was an extra team in the southeast region. Imagine, let's say in the southeast, if New Orleans would actually be in MLS, as then I think that would definitely won't create that much of an issue. You could definitely add them in the division. And I also have heard that some people say, well, why not we add maybe one of the Texas team in the Southeast Division as well? Again, I think the league does not want to have all the Texas team being in different division just because of Copa Tijas. So yeah, that's kind of the reason why they decided to lump them all to get her in the same Southwest Division as well. But let me know in the comments below. What do you think of the division revamp that is going on? Which team do you think could change in terms of belonging in which division? And that do you think this is a perfect solution in terms of how the how the league, when they do announce that they're gonna switch to having put each of these team in different division, is this going to be the way to to go for, especially where each of these team belong in each of these division? Let me know in the comments below as always. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.